everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Saturday, August the 5th, race number 10 at Saratoga, the grade 1, $1 million Whitney. We're going 1 1/8 miles. Before we take a look at the field, remember to check out those Timeform US PPs on DRF.com. Breakthrough PPs just got better, speed ratings, pace projectors, and tons more. Learn more at drf.com/TFUS101. Here's the field for the Whitney. Please scan or click the QR code for Race of the Day access on mobile. Only a field of 6, but you've got the best horse in the country, the number 6 Cody's Wish, trying to stretch it out to 1 1/8 miles.
It's really the only question of the race, right, Dan? I mean, if you're going to take a shot against him in here, I guess it's just because you simply think that he will not be as good going 9 furlongs around 2 turns as he is going the mile. Because the main rivals for him in this race are 3 horses that he just absolutely smashed in the Met Mile a month ago.
He's won 6 in a row, including 4 consecutive grade 1s, and he's just been on fire recently. As we take a look at the Timeform US pace projector, occasionally Cody's Wish doesn't break well. And you see from the pace projector, they have him last after the first half mile. Good thing for Cody's Wish fans is that he has the LP flag over his number 6 Chiclet, which indicates that he has the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. He'll be running in the stretch.
Yeah, he'll be coming from off the pace somewhere here. We'll see if he kicks as strong in this 2-turn 9 furlong race. If he does, they probably can't beat him, Dan. This is a pretty good-looking pace projector, I think, for the 2 Charge It, who obviously has some talent. If he can get loose on the lead here, I guess that makes him a little bit more dangerous.
The number 1 Zandon has built a pretty impressive resume. Just consider 3rd in the Kentucky Derby, 3rd in the Travers, 2nd in the Pennsylvania Derby, 2nd in the Met Mile. He's earned 5 triple-digit Beyer speed figures in his last 5 fast dirt races. He hasn't won any of them. Maybe getting back to 1 1/8 miles in his 3rd start of the form cycle is going to be key for his success. I've always wondered what distance was his best. 1 mile, 1 1/8 miles. He did win the Bluegrass at this distance.
Yeah, I feel the same way about him. I thought maybe it was a smart move for these connections to try to go a little bit shorter with him this year and to see what happened. I guess all in all, you would have to say it's been somewhat of a success, Dan. 2 triple-digit Beyers going the mile, 2nd in the Westchester, 2nd last time to Cody's Wish in the Met Mile. He's run fine in those races, but as you've already pointed out, he also has really good form going longer around 2 turns at this distance. So maybe he can get it. I don't mind them stretching him back out. I thought he actually ran pretty well last time in the Met.
The number 2 Charge It is capable of putting up big Beyer speed figures. He does have talent. The problem with this Todd Pletcher trainee is he is a bit inconsistent. Now, he found the right field last time out in the Suburban after being no match for Cody's Wish in the Metropolitan. He got right up close to the race while racing well off the rail in this 1 1/4 affair, and these horses just couldn't touch him at odds on.
Exactly. I mean, it's maybe in some ways the main question of the race, Dan, is he runs another fast race here, and he looks good winning this race. If he runs another 106, I guess it really has to give him some kind of significant chance in this Whitney. The question is, do you think he's going to be able to run that race again against what is a much, much, much tougher field? I was impressed with how he looked last time. I still don't buy into this horse. He had an absolute candy trip last time against a bad field. And when he doesn't have those kinds of trips, he just doesn't seem like he's up to this kind of competition. His Met Mile, to me, it was fine. He didn't run as well as Cody's Wish. He didn't run as well as Zandon. He didn't run as well as White Abarrio.
Giant Game is the number 3. He was 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile as a 2-year-old, then had a disastrous and abbreviated 3-year-old campaign. It's nice to see him begin to achieve his potential for trainer Dale Romans. Here's his win in the Grade 3 Cornhusker, last time out going 1 1/8 miles at Prairie Meadows, and he went right to the front in here, Mike, and he just kept on going. Maybe he'll be a pace presence under the aggressive Luis Saez.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of their only option here, right? I think they just got to come out of there running, try to make the front in this race and see how far they can take this field. He ran fine in here. I liked the ride that he got in this race too, Dan. They went a little aggressively, picked it up around the final turn and held on. It was a good performance. It didn't necessarily make me think he was going to win the Whitney in his next start, but they're going to try it.
Last Samurai is a toughie. He's earned over $2 million from Mr. Lucas. 4th last time out in the Stephen Foster. He got wired that day over a speed-friendly Ellis Spark track. He's a horse that kind of needs a little bit of pace up front, but this distance is good for him. And on his day, he can pop that triple-digit Beyer.
I think that's a really good way to look at him, Dan. Maybe his last two races aren't the best ones that he's run, but maybe there are ways to mitigate those performances. His good race obviously gives him a real chance in here. There might be some pace for him to run at. The distance is fine for him. Kind of feels like he's going to get overlooked a little bit in this race. From a lot of different angles, he's the kind of horse you could use at a price.
White Abarrio won the Florida Derby at this distance as a 3-year-old, and I thought he ran well in the Met Mile while third, no match for Cody's Wish, but he was sort of cruising in behind horses and he got looped by the winner turning into the lane. He got to the outside. I wanted to see him get up for second, but I think there's more in the tank in his second off a short layoff.
But I kind of agree with you there. I mean, it felt like he had a real shot to get second, and he did try to get it, Dan. Zandon just sort of denied him at the end. I thought they both ran well in there. He was over behind horses around the turn there. The Charge It went by him, and then Zandon went by him, and then the winner went by him. And by the time he got clear, he had a lot of work to do, but I still thought he ran well. I was of the opinion that this was a horse who was going to be better going shorter, even though he had won some good races around two turns. I'm starting to wonder if I'm right about that. He's obviously good going 7 and a mile. He's pretty good going 2 turns as well.
And now the horse we're all been waiting for, that's the number 6, Cody's Wish, super talented. We're going to take a look at his performance in the Metropolitan Handicap, and he was sensational yet again. It took him a little while to get his feet underneath him. He made a big sweeping move on the turn to take command, and from here it's all over. But the shouting, you're going to see Zandon just told off the gray-white Abarrio for second. Cody's Wish earned a 112 Beyer speed figure in this race, and if he runs anything close to this, he's just going to win.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he absolutely buried this field, and it's a good field, Dan. It was a very strong performance. They're going to try to stretch him out again here. If that didn't work earlier on, he's a different horse now. The 2 turns was no problem for him at the Breeders' Cup last November, so you don't have to worry about that. The only way you think he gets beat here is if you think he can't get 9 furlongs.
Before we take a look at our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for the Grade 1 $1 million Whitney. Tremendous respect for Cody's Wish. He's way the horse to beat. I just wonder if Charge It can get an easy trip. And we've seen that when he gets those easy trips, he kind of runs big races. I think he can get to the front in here. Maybe he can make Cody's Wish run a little bit.
Yeah, maybe he can. I'm still not a believer in Charge It, Dan, but I understand where you're going. I don't think I'd be shocked if he ran a big race here with a soft trip. I'm not betting against Cody's Wish. I tried to get White Abarrio in there. I liked his last race.
6512 for Mike, 2615 for me. It's the Grade 1 Whitney featuring the very popular and talented Cody's Wish.